How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to CardboardSim. And today I drop what is seemed to be the most asked question since I started my channel regarding this particular sim. How much does this sim cost? So I'm gonna try to run through this fairly quickly, and just to give you guys the numbers. So and just a heads up, most of these numbers are roundabout numbers, just because I never really kept up with how much money I was actually spending. You know, I didn't keep the receipts and jot it down. And then there's a lot of things in this sim that I didn't pay anything for. So just keep that in mind. But I wrote everything down on my list here, so I'm trying to give you guys pretty much a roundabout number of what it costs in a sense. So let's go. So starting with the TVs, these are 355-inch TCL 4K TVs. Now the front monitor and the left monitor, I purchased those just not too long ago. I mean, if you go back in some of my videos, I can't remember exactly which one it was, but these are actually fairly new. Now the right monitor, I've had this TV since 2015. But to give a roundabout number, they was roughly $250 a piece. So that's $750 just in the TVs. Going to the PC, I bought that PC around the same time I bought the right monitor, or the right TV. I bought that on clearance at Walmart for $200. And since then, I've upgraded the GPU. So I added a 2080 Super. I bought off a marketplace for $200, and I upgraded the PSU, the power supply, to a Corsair 850 gold, and that was another $140. So that was that. Now since then, a good friend of mine donated a better motherboard, and so I went from an i5 4440 with 16 gigs to an i7 3770 with 32 gigs. So that was donated, so that was free. So moving on, coming over here to my 6-pack, it is a iPad Pro. I purchased this thing years ago. I can't remember exactly what generation it is, but I bought that, you know, on a cell phone plan, I guess you could say. So I was paying like $60 a month for it, you know, over the course of the terms. But I think it was right around $1,200 at the time that I got it. But like I said, I mean, this was already paid for way before the sim was built, but I wanted to add that in just to let you guys know. The iPad mini that displays my engine management system, that was inherited. It was not being used, so I took it. As well as the tablet that I use for the GTN 750, that was another item that was inherited, so no cost to me on that. The tablet that I have here on the yoke that I use for Navigraph, I bought this off of a Christmas gift card, so no out of pocket funds for that. Let's see. The autopilot panel is from Prop Wash Simulation, and that was, I think, about 130 roughly after taxes. The yoke, I actually have two of them, but right now I'm only showing one. I did have it set up as a dual yoke system, but I went back just to the single. That, as well as I have two sets of CH yoke rudder pedals. So for the two yokes and the two rudder pedals cost me 60 bucks. Now one set cost me 20 bucks, the other set cost me 40. I had to do a little bit of driving to get them, and this was all over time. One, I drove an hour to get a yoke and rudder pedals, and another one I drove like 2 hours to get it, to get another yoke and set of rudder pedals as well. But in the end, the time and the gas money and the cost of it made more sense to me than trying to find something that costs way more. Moving on, we have the TPM setup. So the TPM setup, I originally had my own DIY that I used for a long time, and it was made out of vape juice caps, back when I used to vape, and I added some wooden dials and added them to a sliding potentiometer, and I used that for a while. Well, I had another good friend of mine who is a simmer and who was actually a real life pilot as well. He took it upon himself to donate a very, very durable and I would say more pristine TPM setup than what I had. It's actually from simmax.it, and so he was generous enough to send those to me, and I thank him all the time for it, as well as the landing gear. The landing gear is actually from, I think, the same place, and I just had to kind of modify it because I already had my lights and things set up, so I just kind of used the gear switch to add to the sim. But it's a push pull, or a pull and move type switch, so more realistic than what I had. Alright, so that's that. Now moving on to we'll say the switches, buttons, and encoders. So all the little things that you see me clicking and turning and stuff like that, I probably spent roughly $150 for all of that total. And to add to that, we have the Arduinos. Now right now I'm running two Arduino Megas. I have an Arduino Micro, and I also have an Arduino Leonardo running all of the switches and encoders and things of that nature, and all of those cost me around $100, like I said, roughly. The headset, the one that I'm using, this is actually the Bose Quiet Comfort 245s. I bought these actually for my business that I use. I have a lawn care landscaping business that I run, and I actually purchased these so when I'm out in the field, I can do my thing, keep my ears safe, and just zone out and listen to tunes. And so as I was building the sim, I'm like, well, how do I incorporate these into here? And so I ended up finding a very small company, I think on Amazon. I think, don't quote me, it's something about GoDaddy or something like of that nature. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, there is a company that actually creates an external microphone that you can hook in to the headsets, and so I think those were like $20. So I bought those for the headsets, and then I also had to purchase the Bose control knob module, which I purchased, I think, from eBay for like $50. So that's what my headset is. Now my headset cost me, I think when I bought it from Best Buy, I think it was like $300. But I'm a music head, so I like good sound. So that's why I decided to go with the Bose, and it just so happens to flow into the sim. Cameras. I have 3 Logitech high def 1080p cameras. Those are the cameras that I use to film my videos for you guys, and I caught those on sale at Staples for about $60 a piece. So that was 180. My trim wheel, I bought from a guy off of Etsy. It was like $12. It's a very, very simple trim wheel, nothing fancy, but it gets the job done for now. I do plan on upgrading it to a motorized trim wheel eventually. If not, I will turn this into a motorized trim wheel. My landing gear, I spoke on that. That was free along with the TPMs. The speakers. So I have 2 speakers sent behind the front monitor, and then I have my subwoofer that sits directly behind my center pedestal here, and I got that off of Marketplace for $20. So that is the gist of the more higher ticket items. As far as the my little AC unit up top, so the center part is actually the top portion of an old Coolmaster case. One of my neighbors across the street was tossing out some old computers, and they were sitting out on the corner, and I picked them up. My intentions were to use them eventually, but there was just nothing that I could really use to salvage them, so they just kind of sat around. And so when I decided to put an overhead in, I don't know if the idea just kind of came to mind when I looked at it. So I took it apart, put it up, and I took all, well, there was, out of all the fans, only 3 of them was still pretty much, you know, salvageable, I guess you can say. So I snatched those out, and I added that in with the cardboard, and made myself a little AC unit. So the little switch that I use to turn the fans on is just a switch from an old a little fan that you plug into the wall. I had no use for it, been sitting upstairs forever, and so I decided to take it apart, use the switch, and use the power supply, or I found a power supply that that was strong enough, had enough amperage to run all 4 of the fans, and I just kind of spliced into that, and so when I hit the switch, my fans turn on and off. So it gives me a little bit of air in here, because it do get warm after a while. But that was pretty much all free. So moving down to the miscellaneous. We already talked about the switches, button, and encoders. Okay, so the LED lights. So the lights that I have under the glare shield, the light that I have, the LED strip that I have under the switches that kind of give me like a little backlight, and then I also have this switch here that I have 2 puck lights underneath the panel that kind of just shines light down on the rudder pedals, and then I also have 2 more up on my overhead panel. All of that cost me about $20 from Walmart. I used the, you know, the great value, you know, the cheap puck lighting, and the cheap LED strip, and just kind of routed it, you know, to make it nice and neat. So that's pretty much how those LEDs came about. The cardboard, like I said, the cardboard is pretty much free. Most of the build is cardboard. The panel actually was made from the TV box that I have in my living room. I I got a 75-inch TV in my living room, and I used the cardboard from the box to create the panel, as well as mostly everything else. And then I have other, other pieces of cardboard boxes that I had laying around to use and cut and glued and all that good stuff. And that's where all that came from. So that's free. The frame is made out of 2x4s. The 2x4s were free to me. I kind of just picked them up, from friends and neighbors, and I'll see, somebody demo in a place and say, hey, could I grab a couple pieces of 2x4s, and they will let me get it. So I had no money spent on the 2x4s. The carpet that I use, it was a cheap sheet of carpet that I picked up from Lowe's, the home improvement store. 25 bucks for that. The interior panels were the black and gray, where you see that. That material was also free. I've had that material forever. I had someone give me some, it's pretty much backdrop material, and somebody just decided to say, did you need it? I really didn't need it at the time, but I'm like, I could probably use it down the road. So I took it, and it sat in my shed for a little while, and that's where that came from. Now the panel behind it is actually, it's this foam. It's like insulation foam, and you can get like a huge sheet of it for like $10 at a home improvement store. I think I ended up getting like 2 sheets, so it was like $20 pretty much to insulate and panel the interior. Now the video doesn't really pick up a lot of the stuff. Now if you watched my sim tour, you would have seen that I use a lot of duct tape in here. So there's duct tape used throughout a lot of the sim. The window frames, I have a lot of duct tape down here at the bottom to cover up all the gaps and stuff beneath the 750. I use some duct tape underneath the glare shield to kind of keep things together, which I need to replace some of it because it's starting to, it's kind of dried out, I guess you can say, and it doesn't really hold as well. And a few other places. So I probably spent maybe 20 bucks on a couple rolls of duct tape. Screws, probably about another $20 worth of screws. Wherever I needed a screw to hold something in place, they're being used. Wire, I probably spent about 50 bucks on wiring for everything for the sim. My lighting we talked about. My chair is an office chair I got from Walmart for like $40. Nothing fancy, something simple. I do plan on replacing this and upgrading this, as well as adding a passenger seat. I'm gonna get me some nice bucket seats to put in here. And that is about it, y'all, for the sim. There's a couple other little things that I might not have touched on because most of that stuff was free. Like my handle here to open the door, that's free. My handle over here to open the window, that was free with some electrical tape. Yeah, so that's it. So with all of that, in total, my sim has cost me, let me get to it here. In total, you're looking at about we'll just say $3,300 it cost me to build this sim. So it looks like it's a lot of money, but it's really not. My goal when I started building this sim was to try to make it as effective and immersive as possible by spending the least amount of money, and I think I've superseded that. by a long shot. And as far as like the graphics and things like that, that just comes with a lot of studying and mods and add-ons and dialing in, you know, tweaking the settings. It's not perfect. Yes, I'm far from ultra settings at the moment, but it looks good for the time being. I do, however, have plans on building a beast mode PC in the future, to give me the best of the best. But for now, what I have, it works and I like it. So that's what I have for you guys. I hope you got something out of it. If you do have any more questions concerning the build, if you have any more questions concerning pricing, or if you just have any questions regarding CardboardSim, feel free to leave me a question or a comment down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I hope you guys enjoyed this walkthrough on the cost of CardboardSim. I'm going to go ahead and sign out, and we'll catch you on the next one.